Hey everyone, before this video starts, I want to send out a real thank you to you all for voting on the topic you wanted looked at today. And with 33% of the votes, the WWE vs ECW head-to-head event is our winning topic. For those of you who didn't vote for this, don't worry, the other three topics will all get looked at as well in videos that I'll put together. So I thank you all kindly once again for your votes, and I will do more voting polls for future concepts for you all again down the road. ECW One Night Stand 2005 was a successful pay-per-view produced by the WWE. This convinced the higher-ups in the company to go at it again with another ECW pay-per-view the following year. But that wasn't all. They decided to revive the ECW name as its own brand and weekly show on television. In the lead up to this One Night Stand pay-per-view, ECW originals would begin to show up on WWE programming, and just prior to the pay-per-view, WWE presented a one-off special show that took place, and it featured guys representing both ECW and WWE, and it was known as WWE vs ECW head-to-head. Plans began to take centre stage for the ECW brand to be inserted alongside Raw and SmackDown. And during this chain of events, Paul Heyman, who would lead the ECW brand, was handed 2 draft picks to get his weekly show started. The picks were revealed to be SmackDown's Kurt Angle and Raw's Rob Van Dam. The latter won the Money in the Bank contract at WrestleMania, and he announced that he would cash it in for a WWE Championship match at One Night Stand 2006. The invasion of ECW guys resulted in a show that would take place on June 7th, a Wednesday. Regarding the concept of the show, it's a bit reminiscent of the Invasion pay-per-view in 2001, where you had guys from the WWF taking on those from the WCW-ECW alliance, and they were even kept apart and entered the arena separately. Well, that's exactly what happened at the head-to-head show as well. Head-to-head took place in Dayton, Ohio. The opening of the show shows the WWE guys in a locker room getting a prep talk from Mick Foley. Foley tells them that ECW have come into their backyard to humiliate the WWE. Rey Mysterio then takes over and calls ECW a bunch of punks, and WWE will take them down, and everyone starts prep talking to one another. The camera cuts to the ECW lot in a separate locker room. Paul Heyman, off camera at first, tells the guys that they've known themselves to be better and they will prove it. Heyman then asks them who is dominant, who is superior, and who they are, and everyone chants ECW very loudly. Following the intro, we cut to the arena. Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler are the commentators representing WWE, whilst ECW has Joey Styles and Taz on commentary also. Our opening contest is World Heavyweight Champion Rey Mysterio for WWE against ECW's Mr. Money in the Bank, Rob Van Dam. The match starts with the two men shaking hands, and Mysterio gets behind Van Dam, who then tosses Rey and then hits a drop kick. The two then halt to a stalemate, then smile at each other and shake hands once again. Van Dam lifts Rey up into a military press and then drops him and nails a standing moonsault. RVD heads to the turnbuckles to pose to the crowd. Once on the mat, Rey gets Rob into a position for a 619 and Van Dam ducks the attempt. Rey then drop kicks RVD to the outside and Van Dam gets Mysterio on the barricade, but RVD loses his balance and falls off. Once back up, he tries a falling kick, but Rey moves away. Following a commercial break, Mysterio tries to hit a bulldog, but RVD drops Rey onto the top rope, leading to Rob jump kicking Rey to the outside. Once Mysterio's back in the ring, Van Dam grabs a chair and then skateboards it into Rey's face. Keep in mind, this is a one-on-one match, but the referee doesn't call for the bell after RVD used the chair. We then get Mysterio nailing a diving bulldog onto the chair, and Rey covers Van Dam, but it only gets a 2 count. Rey goes for a springboard leg drop, but RVD moves out the way. Van Dam then places the chair on Rey Mysterio and heads to the top turnbuckle. Van Dam then dives for a 5-star frog splash, and Rey throws the chair away just as RVD executes his finisher and scores the win. Following the match, Van Dam helps Mysterio to his feet and checks on him, then poses to the crowd. Pretty average for an opener, this one. I suppose you could say that Van Dam won just to make him an ECW dominant heading into the One Night Stand pay-per-view. We next have ECW's Cut Angle come out to cut a promo. Angle starts off by talking about Randy Orton, his opponent at One Night Stand. He tells fans about how months earlier he snapped Orton's ankle and made him disappear off TV for 2 months, and says that he enjoyed every second of that. Kurt then says that of all the ankles that he has broken, Orton's one has to be his all-time favourite. He continues on by saying that he's glad Randy is facing him at One Night Stand. Randy Orton then makes his way out to interrupt the Olympic gold medalist. Randy asks Angle if what he's been saying is supposed to scare him. The Legend Killer then claims to feel sorry for Kurt Angle over the fact that he went from main eventing WrestleMania as World Heavyweight Champion to ECW. Randy then takes jabs at any of the ECW fans that are in attendance. Angle then says that Randy doesn't understand about ECW's Cut Angle. He says that this is a new ECW. Angle then says that come Sunday he will break Randy's body, referring to his arms, legs and neck. But Orton snaps back and tells Kurt to listen to him. He goes on about how he had to spend 2 months in rehab for his injured ankle. Yeah, we know the real reason why Orton was off TV. It was a suspension. Randy then says that he's now back and he has the chance to pay Kurt back for the injury. Orton then states that he's not going to just beat Kurt Angle and win a match at One Night Stand. He vows that he will kill the legend of ECW, and the promo ends with the two men looking at each other from afar. We have our next contest, a women's match between WWE's Mickie James taking on ECW's Jazz. Jazz holds Mickie by the arm and James counters with punches. Jazz counters an Irish whip and nails a kick to the midsection, followed by a drop kick. Jazz then nails a diving crossbody off the ring apron, and once back in the ring, Jazz takes a run at Mickie James, but she moves aside. After avoiding a chick kick, Jazz hits a facebuster and pins Mickie, but she gets her foot on the rope. Jazz then gets a hold of Mickie, but James then pokes Jazz in the eye and then performs her DDT finisher, which results in Mickie James winning the match for WWE. A very short match this one, and one that maybe could have been given a couple of more minutes instead. And also, Mickie James hardly gave any offense in this match, and it was mostly Jazz who was the dominant one in this bout. Backstage, Todd Grisham interviews WWE Champion John Cena. Cena says that history will be made at One Night Stand when the WWE Championship gets defended at an ECW pay-per-view. John then goes on to say that should his One Night Stand opponent, Rob Van Dam, win the belt at the pay-per-view, the title will go to ECW. Cena brings up names of those before him who held the WWE title, such as Bruno Sammartino, Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And if Cena himself loses the belt, that legacy will be gone and it will be christened as the ECW Championship. After some excessive, exaggerating comments, Cena ends the segment by telling ECW that they have angered the wrong person, and then he heads off. Back in the arena, Paul Heyman is in the ring. He tells the fans that it's a bit overwhelming that they are in the middle of the resurgence of ECW. He brings up about ECW returning to TV the following week on the Sci-Fi Channel, and it will be a new breed unleashed. Given how things panned out in the end, Mr. Heyman, I don't think that was the case. He then states that it won't just be what they used to do before in ECW, but it will also be a lot more. Heyman says that ECW's resurrection will begin at One Night Stand, and he then starts to promote the matches advertised for the pay-per-view. Following that, Paul shows fans clips from the previous One Night Stand pay-per-view a year earlier, and that's the end of Paul Heyman's promo. He was pretty much promoting the One Night Stand pay-per-view for that Sunday. Backstage, we have Kurt Angle giving his ECW teammates his praises while speaking in a prep talk tone of voice, and after asking them who they are twice, they chant ECW loudly and they then head off for the next match. We then cut to the WWE locker room. Big Show tells everyone how Kurt Angle betrayed everyone in WWE and that Angle is out for himself. Quickly, for those who haven't seen this event before, keep in mind what Big Show just said and you'll see what I mean later. Show then says that while some of them are there from Raw and others from SmackDown, they are all as one for tonight. He then says that they are to go out there and show everyone that ECW has no idea what it's going to get. I wonder where this is going. The group then head off to the ring for the next match. It's a 10-on-10 team battle royal. For Team WWE, we have The Big Show, Randy Orton, Mark Henry, Tatanka, Shelton Benjamin, Matt Hardy, Finlay, Carlito, Bobby Lashley and Edge. Team ECW all come out as one, and it consists of Kurt Angle, Balls Mahoney, Stevie Richards, Nunzio, Al Snow, Tommy Dreamer, Terry Funk, The Sandman, Justin Credible and Tony Mamaluke. Edge exits the ring as he gets chased by Tommy Dreamer. Those two will be competing a bit later on in the show. The bout gets underway, and seconds into it, Mark Henry is the first man to get eliminated by Kurt Angle and Nunzio. Shortly afterwards, Matt Hardy gets dumped out by Terry Funk. Nunzio goes after Big Show, but obviously gets halted, and Nunzio is the first man from ECW to go, thanks to the Big Show. Tommy Dreamer then eliminates Tatanka, and then the first man from Raw then goes when the Sandman gets rid of Carlito. So far, ECW have the upper hand in the numbers game. Edge, who has remained on the outside, leaps onto the ring apron and tosses Tony Mamaluke over the top rope. Tommy Dreamer gets hold of Edge by the hair, and then Randy Orton comes up behind, and he and the Rated R Superstar eliminate the Innovator of Violence as the show went to a commercial break. When we get back to the action, Edge is still staying outside the ring whilst the officials tell him to get inside. Terry Funk tries to get at him, but Edge gets a hold of Funk and along with Finlay manage to eliminate him. Finlay brawls with Justin Credible in the centre of the ring and then tosses Credible out, and WWE have taken control of the numbers game now. Al Snow targets Shelton Benjamin and tries to use head to hit Shelton with, but Benjamin counters and nails a kick and Al Snow is gone. Big Show grabs a hold of head and is about to toss it out as the camera cuts to ECW Stevie Richards getting dumped out by Bobby Lashley. Balls Mahoney then nails punches to Lashley, and as he hits his final one, Lashley no-sells it and throws Mahoney over the top and out, just as Kurt Angle retaliates and eliminates Lashley. At this stage in the game, ECW has just 2 men left and WWE has 5 as the match goes to yet another commercial break. When we return, nothing has changed, including Edge still on the outside. The Raw guys gang up on the Sandman, whereas SmackDown's Finlay deals with Kurt Angle. Randy Orton then throws out the Sandman, and now it's up to Kurt Angle to mount a comeback for ECW. Shelton Benjamin is next to go, and afterwards Finlay tells everyone to stop for a moment. Finlay then has Big Show and Randy Orton come together, and they plan a strategy to eliminate the Olympic gold medalist. The 3 men surround Kurt, but he nails belly-to-belly suplexes on Finlay and Orton. Big Show goes for a chokeslam, but Angle counters into an Angle slam whilst Edge looks on. Finlay attacks Angle from behind to take control for a bit. Following an elimination attempt on Angle, Kurt counters and slingshots Finlay over, so that's all the SmackDown guys from Team WWE gone. Edge finally enters the ring and he prepares to spear Kurt Angle, but Angle grabs the Rated R Superstar and now he's officially gone from the bout. Angle looks on at Edge and Randy Orton storms up from behind and eliminates Kurt Angle, and Team WWE are declared the winners of the Battle Royal, with Big Show and Orton as the winning members. But hang on a minute. Whilst Orton looks on at Kurt Angle, Big Show removes his Raw shirt to reveal an ECW top underneath. Randy turns around and is shocked to see what he's seeing. Show then chokeslams Randy and then tosses him over the top rope, and ECW are declared the winners of the Battle Royal, with Big Show as the winner. After the bout, Kurt Angle re-enters the ring and he and Big Show celebrate the victory. Regarding the finish to the match, I did say before in my Battle Royal Fantasy Home Features video that I did not like how this match ended, and remember, prior to the match, Big Show told the WWE guys that Angle betrayed WWE. Well, we got to see Big Show pretty much follow suit too. It's an okay Battle Royal, but the ending was bad just because the higher-ups didn't have any faith in the true ECW originals and they just couldn't let them win properly. And also, how many times in WWE had we seen Big Show turn on those he teamed up with? I seriously have lost count. Backstage, Big Show celebrates with the ECW locker room as we cut to the next match. It's WWE's Edge against ECW's Tommy Dreamer in a hardcore match. Lita and Mick Foley are with the Rated R Superstar in the ring. And before Tommy Dreamer comes out, Edge grabs a microphone from Lillian Garcia and he talks about Mick Foley's knowledge of being hardcore and also about the knowledge of Terry Funk and Tommy Dreamer. Edge then surprises Foley with an old promo that the hardcore legend cut back in ECW in 1995. When we cut back to the ring, Tommy Dreamer makes his way out with Terry Funk and Dreamer is holding a 2x4 with barbed wire. Edge has a chair in his hands as the match gets underway. Dreamer knocks the chair out of Edge's hands. Edge then heads to the outside and Dreamer continues to swing the 2x4, but the Rated R Superstar keeps running away. Edge manages to ambush Tommy for a bit but gets stopped after Dreamer Irish whips Edge over the ring steps. Back in the ring, Dreamer empties the trash can in the ring and begins using what he finds to hit Edge with. Lita causes a distraction as Edge hits Tommy with the sign he was using. Edge attempts a hip toss onto the trash can, but Dreamer counters with a neck breaker. Edge then goes for a drop toe hold that makes Tommy fall headfirst onto a chair, and we see the Rated R Superstar nail the execution onto the trash can. After countering an Irish whip, Tommy Dreamer places Edge in a Tree of Woe position and places the chair in Edge's face. Dreamer successfully drop kicks onto the chair into Edge's face and then poses to the crowd. The Innovator of Violence then turns to Terry Funk and shouts, "Get the tables," a clear reference to the Dudley Boys. Once the table's set up in the ring, Dreamer goes for a superplex, but Lita nails Tommy with a kendo stick. Terry Funk gets in the ring and grabs Lita just as Mick Foley gets a hold of Funk. Edge tries to go for a powerbomb off the top rope, but Dreamer counters. I don't know if Edge was meant to go through the table at this point, but anyhow. Dreamer lifts Edge up and nails a Death Valley driver through the table, but the crowd didn't seem to react to it the way they normally do with table spots. Tommy covers Edge, but again Lita hits him with the kendo stick. Lita repeatedly uses the stick on Dreamer, who no-sells the shots before grabbing the stick and then lifting her up for a powerbomb, but Edge then spears Dreamer with Lita still on top of him and Edge scores the pinfall win. Following the match, Terry Funk attacks Mick Foley for a bit and then they both do retreat to their respective sides. This was probably the best match of the show, though not one I would highly get entertained by, but it is an improvement of what's been happening so far. Back from a commercial break, Mick Foley is in the ring sitting down with a light beaming on him. The hardcore legend has a bit of blood on the left side of his face following the attack from Terry Funk. Foley asks the crowd where any of them get off by telling Foley himself that he sold out. Mick then says that he doesn't hate ECW and he loved his time with the organisation, but they didn't love him back. So he left ECW and found fame and fortune in the WWE, something that the fans boo him for. After speaking about Tommy Dreamer, Foley then says that he told Edge that he and Mick himself had the best hardcore match ever at WrestleMania 22, but maybe it wasn't all that great. He then says that maybe he and Edge need to be a lot tougher going into their tag team match at One Night Stand against Dreamer and Funk. Foley begins to talk about Dreamer and Funk and brings up how the only difference between Tommy Dreamer and Mick himself is that Foley had the guts to go to WWE and that he and Edge are ready to take a beating at One Night Stand. After criticising the fans, Foley ends the promo by saying that at One Night Stand he will walk into the ring as a WWE legend and he will make both Terry Funk and Tommy Dreamer learn about loss. Regarding the promos and segments, this was an excellent showing by Mick Foley and his delivery on the microphone kind of felt reminiscent of his days in ECW. Following this, we get the commentators having a war of words, mainly Taz and Jerry Lawler, given that they were due to meet at the pay-per-view as well. The King stands up and he orders Taz to stand up as well. Taz removes his jacket and heads towards the King and nails a punch on Lawler. The two then end up brawling all over and around the commentary tables, and it gets stopped when officials head down to break up the brawl. And now it's time for the main event of the evening. We have WWE Champion John Cena taking on ECW Sabu, and it's under Extreme Rules this bout. Cena throws punches early and takes control of the first part of the bout. We get a fisherman's suplex, and after a 2 count, Sabu reverses an Irish whip off the rope, but Cena catches him and hits a belly to belly. We get more Cena punches in the corner, and following another Irish whip into the corner, Sabu nails a low blow on Cena and throws him to the outside. Sabu hits a springboard senton to the outside and then grabs a chair that he brought with him to the ring and tosses it in Cena's face. The two get back in the ring and we see another hit with the chair from Sabu. He then nails a triple jump moonsault, but Cena kicks out. We then get an air Sabu on Cena in the corner and then a facebuster with the chair. Cena is then thrown into the ring steps on the outside and then gets laid onto the commentary table with Sabu hitting a leg drop. Back in the ring, Sabu goes for another air Sabu on the WWE Champion, but John catches him in mid-air and nails an attitude adjustment despite Sabu trying to kick out. John Cena then locks Sabu in the STF and then the Big Show runs down to attack Cena and the match is over as a no contest. Though some people have said that Cena won this match via quote-unquote extreme disqualification, but I'm sorry, it's a no contest to me as this was an Extreme Rules match and it doesn't make sense. Following Big Show's attack, guys from the WWE storm the ring and then the ECW lot come down afterwards and the show ends with a wild brawl in and out of the ring. And now our look at WWE vs ECW head to head has come to an end. Honestly, I didn't really enjoy the show the first time around when I saw it, and my opinion still remains to this very day. This was a one-off show that aired during the lead up to One Night Stand 2006, so this show sort of felt like it was kind of a promoting event, if you like. I just look at the show and feel that it was just put together to add more promotion to the One Night Stand pay-per-view, and probably the return of ECW on the Sci-Fi channel as well. As for the matches, the RVD vs Mysterio opener was about average. Mickie James vs Jazz was just too short. The Battle Royal was a bit passable, but the way the match ended was awful. Edge vs Tommy Dreamer in a hardcore match was, to me, the best match of the show, though it's a bit of a reluctant praise. And finally, the Cena vs Sabu match again was a bit below expectations, and again, the ending ruined it. The promos in between had their moments, especially the one that Mick Foley did, but I still stand by my overall opinion that this show was not that pleasing on the whole. And I felt it had elements of the invasion angle from 2001, you know, WWE guys defecting, true originals of those who were not established by WWE having to put their stars over, run-ins to end matches and shows, and the higher-ups having little faith in the originals of ECW, so you get the idea. I sadly cannot call this a 5-star show, though I will admit I have seen way worse shows and events than this, so I do give it that, but it just wasn't as great as I hoped it would. It also felt more about promoting and advertising than an actual case of bragging rights or a true meaningful one-off television special. Again, it's not the worst show I've seen, but it's one I wouldn't rush to watch again immediately, I'm afraid. For those who do like this event, I deeply do apologise for not liking it too, but I'm just giving you my opinion, and WWE vs ECW head to head just isn't for me, I'm afraid. One Night Stand 2006 was better than head to head, despite the heavy focus of WWE added to the show, but the 2005 One Night Stand will be the pinnacle when it comes to ECW events being held under the WWE banner. Thank you all once again for voting for this video, and thank you also for watching too.